With Around the World in 80 Days, episode number 11, The Race to Britain. I'm Ms. Fatima Muhammad Iqbal, starting this period. Please follow with me. Last period, when we had Around the World in 80 Days, we saw that was the first time when Mr. Fogg was behind his schedule. He couldn't get to the ship China, and they were forced to go to the hotel to take some rest. Now we are going to start the race to Britain, and here there is again some adventure. Here there is another sad ending of this period, and here we will finish the story with some questions in our mind that whether Mr. Fogg will be successful or he will be defeated. On period number 12, on page number 73, we will be completing Phileas Fogg's diary and notes about his recent journey. Let's start.
And Aouda to be ready at a moment's notice. Mr. Fogg left the hotel. It was 7 a.m. on December 12th. Until 8:45 p.m. on December 21st, Mr. Fogg's last minute for completing his journey, there remained 9 days, 13 hours, and 45 minutes. Mr. Fogg went to the banks of the Hudson to scout among the anchored ships. They were mostly sailing boats, which would be too slow. He was ready to give up hope when he spotted a trading vessel, its deck puffing a cloud of smoke, ready to depart. He called out for the captain, who presented himself immediately. He was a man around 50, a sort of sea-wolf with big eyes and a growling voice. His name was Andrew Speedy.
"Is your ship a fast one?"
asked Mr. Fogg.
"Yes, its name is the Henrietta, and it is well known,"
said the captain.
"Will you carry me and 3 other passengers to Liverpool?"
asked Mr. Fogg.
"No, I am setting out for Bordeaux, France,"
replied the captain.
"I'm willing to pay any sum of money,"
said Mr. Fogg.
"It makes no difference,"
said Captain Speedy.
"My destination..."
"Will you carry me to Bordeaux?"
he asked.
"No,"
answered Captain Speedy.
"I offer you $2,000.
said Fogg.
"Per passenger?"
asked the captain, becoming interested.
"Yes, $2,000 per passenger,"
agreed Mr. Fogg. Captain Speedy scratched his head. He had $8,000 to gain without changing his route.
"I start in an hour,"
he said simply.
"We will be on board,"
said Mr. Fogg, and true to his word, he, Aouda, Passepartout, and Mr. Fix were standing on the deck when the Henrietta lifted its anchor. He unrolled the navigation charts and gazed out over the sea. Who was in command of the Henrietta? It was none other than Phileas Fogg. What had happened was simple. Phileas Fogg wanted to go to Liverpool. Captain Speedy would not take him. So Mr. Fogg had bribed all the sailors, and they had switched their loyalty to him. Captain Speedy was locked in his cabin screaming loudly. Passepartout thought Mr. Fogg's maneuver was simply glorious. It was clear as he watched Mr. Fogg manage the craft that Mr. Fogg had been a sailor. Therefore, if the sea did not become too stormy, if the wind did not turn against them, if no accident happened to the boat or its machinery, the Henrietta would arrive in Liverpool in 9 days, on December 21st. The first days of the crossing went smoothly. They passed the banks of Newfoundland without encountering fog or heavy seas, but on the third day, the clouds darkened and the wind blew from the southeast. To maintain his speed, Mr. Fogg instructed the crew to increase the fires in the engine's boilers. On December 16th, the engineer, looking serious, came on deck and spoke with Mr. Fogg.
"You are certain of what you tell me?"
asked Mr. Fogg.
"Absolutely,"
said the engineer. The engine's fires had been burning hot for too long. They were running out of coal. Mr. Fogg did not hesitate.
"Feed the fires until the coal is exhausted,"
he said. The vessel continued at full speed, but 3 days away from Liverpool, the engineer announced that the coal was gone. Mr. Fogg asked Passepartout to bring Captain Speedy on deck. The captain appeared in a rage.
"I have sent for you, sir,"
began Mr. Fogg.
"Pirate!"
yelled Captain Speedy. Fogg continued.
"To ask you to sell me your ship."
"By all the devils, no!"
yelled the captain.
"But I shall be obliged to burn her,"
said Mr. Fogg. Chapter 27, Captain Fogg.
Here is $60,000.
Said Mr. Fogg, emptying his carpet bag almost to the last of his money. The Henrietta was a fine ship, but 20 years old, and this price was easily double its worth. The ship's deck and cabins were made of wood, but its hull was of iron,
I will keep the iron hull and the engine.
said Captain Speedy. He seized the banknotes and counted them. Mr. Fogg's first command as the Henrietta's new owner was to pull the boat apart. The rails, bunks, masts, and life rafts were immediately fed into the boilers. The next day, with Passepartout joining in, the crew pulled down the bridge and the cabins and began to tear up the very deck. On December 20th, as it approached the coast of Ireland, the Henrietta was nothing more than a flat hulk. By 10 o'clock in the evening, the last possible sliver of wood had gone into the fire, but the boat was still 24 hours from Liverpool.
Everything is against you.
Captain Speedy said to Mr. Fogg.
You will only reach the harbor of Queenstown.
Mr. Fogg knew that Queenstown was the Irish port where the transatlantic steamers dropped off the mail. Trains carried the mail to Dublin, and from there fast boats delivered it to Liverpool. This way the mail arrived 12 hours ahead of the steamers. Relying on the Henrietta's last puffs of steam, Mr. Fogg directed the boat toward the harbor lights on the shore. The Henrietta entered Queenstown at 1 o'clock in the morning. Phileas Fogg, leaving Captain Speedy on the iron hulk of his boat, went ashore with his party at once. They took the express train to Dublin and then crossed the Irish Sea, arriving in Liverpool at noon on December 21st. He was only 6 hours distant from London. The wager would be won. At that moment, Fix stepped up beside Mr. Fogg, put his hand on his shoulder, and showing the warrant, said,
I arrest you, Phileas Fogg, in the Queen's name.
10 minutes later, Phileas Fogg was in prison. Aouda and Passepartout sat in the waiting room of the police station, not willing to leave. Passepartout, when he had seen his master arrested, had wanted to attack Fix, but a second policeman had held him back. Aouda was thunderstruck at the sudden event. When Passepartout explained the situation to her, her heart refused to believe the wicked charge against her protector. Realizing that Mr. Fogg was now in need of saving, and she could do nothing to help, Aouda cried bitterly. Passepartout cried as well, hanging his head.
If only I had not concealed Fix's errand.
He said bitterly.
If I had revealed Fix's true purpose, Mr. Fogg could have proven his innocence long before today.
As for Mr. Fix, he had arrested Mr. Fogg because it was his duty. The matter was simple. He was a police detective with a warrant for Mr. Fogg's arrest. Mr. Fogg's guilt or innocence was not his concern. The arrested man sat in his cell, motionless, calm, and without apparent anger. He carefully removed his watch, set it on the table, and observed its advancing hands. The door was locked and the window heavily barred. The situation was terrible. If Phileas Fogg was honest, he was ruined, and if he was a thief, he was caught. He pulled his journal and pen from his pocket and wrote December 21st, Saturday, Liverpool, 80th day, 12:20 p.m. He waited, but for what? Did he still hold out hope? Was he planning an escape? No one could tell. 2 hours passed, and then half an hour more. He heard a noise outside, quick steps, and then a hasty opening of doors. Passepartout's voice was audible, and immediately after, so was the voice of Fix. The cell door swung open, and Passepartout, Aouda, and Fix hurried toward Fogg. Fix was out of breath.
Sir, forgive me. Most unfortunate resemblance. The true robber was arrested 3 days ago. You're free.
Phileas Fogg walked up to the detective and looked him steadily in the face. With the only rapid motion he ever made in his life, he drew back his arm and knocked Fix down with one precise punch.
Well hit,
Cried Passepartout. Phileas...
After watching the videos, you must have noted down that Mr. Phileas Fogg is so close to his destination. But then, what happened? The detective Fix prisoned him for no good reason. He just wasted his time. And now, neither he is earlier and nor he is in time. He has a very tight schedule at the end of this period. Anyhow, let's read the episode. Page number 72. The Race to Britain. Fogg woke at 7 a.m. on 12th December. Here he is in New York. He now had 9 days, 13 hours and 45 minutes until 8:45 on 21st December. That was when he needed to be at the Reform Club in London. You remember the wager? Yes. He had to be there on 8:45, 21st December. Today is 12th December. He went alone to the port to search for a ship to Europe. He found one, the Henrietta, which was ready to sail, but it was going to Bordeaux in France. Fogg offered the captain a lot of money to take the travelers to England, but the captain refused. Then Fogg asked to buy the ship. Again, the answer was no, because he wanted to go to Liverpool. Then will you take us to Bordeaux for £1,600? The captain could not say no to so much money. We leave at 9, he said. We will be ready, Fogg replied. He rushed back to the hotel to get the others. Others? Who are in others? Yes, Mr. Fogg, Passepartout, Oda, and Mr. Fix. So the time is too limited and the work is too much to be done. Mr. Fogg is in New York. He took this ship. Its name is Henrietta. Okay, Henrietta. But ship was supposed to go to Bordeaux. Yani the sailor, he was taking it to Bordeaux. What happened? Mr. Phileas Fogg bought the ship and he is going to change the route of the ship from Bordeaux to Queenstown, Liverpool. Fine. So the ship will be removed on the way. It will no more go to Bordeaux. It will go to Queenstown, Dublin, Liverpool, like this. Let's watch more or let's read more in order to see where it heads to. Not long after the ship had sailed, Fogg started offering the sailors money. The result was that the captain was soon locked in his cabin, and Fogg was sailing the Henrietta towards Liverpool in England. See? So, the captain was locked and the ship was no more moving to Bordeaux. It was moving to Queenstown. Yes. However, this was farther than Bordeaux. And after several days, Fogg realized that they did not have enough coal to get there. See, Bordeaux is much near, but if you compare it to the route to Queenstown, Queenstown is farther. So they realized that they did not have enough coal to get there. He therefore went to the captain and said, "To keep the engines running, I need to burn the wooden parts of this ship, so I'll buy it from you for £12,000. At first, the captain was angry, but then he agreed. So he started burning all the wooden parts of the ship in order to keep the engine moving. And the plan worked. Everything wooden was burned piece by piece. And the Henrietta just managed to reach Queenstown on the south coast of Ireland. See, Henrietta just managed to get here, not farther. Yes, a.m. on the 21st, the same day that he had to be at Reform Club. That was at 1 a.m. after the midnight. The travelers rushed to the railway station and jumped on the 1:30 a.m. train to Dublin. From there, they caught the fast early morning steamer to Liverpool. They arrived at 11:40. They were back in England and Fogg was now just a 6-hour journey away from London. 6 hours at 11:40. But then, see, he was ahead of his schedule. He still had time. Yani if they left at 11:40, let's imagine 11:40 after 6 hours, 11:40 plus 6, 1 plus 6, it would be 17. 17 means 5:40. He would be in London and he could easily get to Reform Club before 8:45. But unfortunately, but then at the exact moment when he got off the ship and entered the country, yes, the worst part of the novel, Detective Fix walked over to him, put his hand on his shoulder and asked, "Are you really Phileas Fogg?" "I am," answered Fogg. "Then I arrest you in the Queen's name," said Fix. He arrested this gentleman. The worst part of this journey. The worst. He had succeeded and Fogg was quickly taken away to prison. Passepartout was very angry and Oda simply did not understand what was happening. Everybody would know that it was such an uncertain situation. Yani, you are about to win the wager and this unfavorable condition appears. You don't know what to do, how to react. But look at his personality, Mr. Phileas Fogg, how calm and relaxed he is. See, while Fogg was sitting in the prison, he looked calmly at his watch. In order to reach London by 8:45, 8:45 that evening, he needed to get on a train immediately. It seemed certain that he could not get there in time. But at 2:30 he heard a noise and the door was quickly opened by Passepartout. He, Oda and Fix rushed into the room. Fix looked terrible and he could hardly speak. "Sir, I'm sorry. You look so much like him, the robber. They have just arrested him. You are free." Phileas Fogg was free, but he was in the wrong city. Too late. Why in the wrong city? Because he should be in London, not here. Let's see what happens in our next episode. Will Mr. Fix be able to win the wager or will he lose it? If he loses it, he will also lose the whole income of his life. He is penniless now. He has no money left with him. Let's see. Let's move to the exercises. Pause the video here in order to note down your own answers, which were now, I hope it will be very, very easy to note down because they are already mentioned in the book. We watched the videos as well, and now you can write them easily. Pause the video here, then follow with me. Complete Phileas Fogg's diary and notes. 12th December, 7 a.m. He woke up. He is in New York. Time still left to get back to the Reform Club. Number 1. Then 9 a.m. What did he leave? And then on what did he leave? Left which place? Which city? Later, not long after that, what happened? During the voyage, during the journey on the ship, he bought what? For how much? And then what did he burn? And why did he burn that? Check your answers. Time still left to get back to the Reform Club was 9 days, 13 hours and 45 minutes because it was 12th December. He should be there on 21st December, 8:45 p.m. 9 a.m. He left which city? New York on the Henrietta. Later, not long after that, started offering money to sailors, and it was very, very important to keep the captain in his room in order to move the ship from Bordeaux to Queensland. During the voyage means the journey on your ship, he bought this ship for £12,000. Then, since the route was too long, he burnt which parts of the ship? The wooden parts of ship, to keep the engine moving, to keep the engine running. Let's move to the next part. 21st, which month? December. He arrived in Queenstown, jumped on train to Dublin, caught steamer, reached Liverpool, and he was sadly arrested by Mr. Fix. Then at 2:30 p.m., Fix said that he was sorry and it was all resembling problem. But the train journey to London was how long? 6 hours. See? 2:30 p.m., 6 hours. Yani 2 plus 6, 8. 8:30. He would reach there 8:30. So, and the time he had before the meeting at the Reform Club was how much time he would have? 2:30, 6 hours and 36. 15 minutes. 6 hours and 15 minutes. Because he had to get there at 8:45. So 8:45 minus 2:30, it would be 6 hours and 15 minutes. So we don't know what will happen in the next episode. Let's wait for that. Thank you very much and good luck.